All right, let's dive in. Today, we're talking about a number that can tell you a whole lot about where you are on your financial journey, and that's your net worth. And, it's not just for billionaires, it's an absolutely fantastic tool for you to track your own progress. So, let's get right to it. So, let's start with a really big question. How much do you think the average household in the US is actually worth? Go ahead, take a second, get a number in your head. I'm willing to bet the real number is going to surprise you. Okay, you ready for this? According to the Federal Reserve's big survey of consumer finances, the average net worth for a U.S. household is a whopping $748,800. I know, right? That seems crazy high. You might be looking around thinking, that doesn't sound like anybody I know. And guess what? You'd be totally right. Because that number, while, technically true, is also really, really misleading. It doesn't give us a realistic picture of the typical person out there. To really understand why, we need to look at the real average wealth. And that means we've got to talk about the huge difference between two little words that sound kind of similar, mean and median. So, the mean is what we usually think of as the average, right? But it gets totally thrown off by the super rich. Just imagine a handful of billionaires sitting on one end of a seesaw. It just shoots the average way, way up for everybody else. The median, on the other hand, is the true middle point. If you lined up every single household from the very poorest to the very richest, the median is the one smack dab in the middle. It gives us a way more accurate picture of a typical person. So, with that in mind, what is the median net worth? It's $121,700. Now that feels a lot more real, doesn't it? It's a much more grounded and, frankly, achievable benchmark for most of us. Okay, before we go any further, let's just get a super clear definition here. Net worth is simple. It's what you own minus what you owe. Your assets are things like your house, your car, your savings, your investments. Your debts or liabilities are things like your mortgage, car loans, student debt, credit card balances. You just subtract the debts from the assets and bam, that's your net worth. It's got nothing to do with how much money you make in a year. All right, so now let's see how this number changes over the course of a lifetime. I want you to think of this next part as kind of like a map of the typical financial journey. Because believe me, where you are in life has a massive, massive impact on your net worth. So check this out. It basically tells the story of our financial lives. For folks under 35, the median is just $13,900. And that makes total sense, right? You're just starting your career, you're probably dealing with student loans, you just haven't had a lot of time to build wealth yet. But then look at the jump from 35 to 44. It goes all the way up to $91,000. Careers are taking off, people are buying homes, and you just see this steady climb through your 40s and 50s, peaking when you're 65 to 74 at $266,000. Mortgages are getting paid off, investments have had time to grow, and then see what happens after 75? It dips a little bit as people start, spending those savings in retirement. And one of the single biggest factors in this whole journey? It's homeownership. The data from the Federal Reserve on this is it's stunning. Homeowners have a median net worth of $255,000. For renters, it's just $6,300. Owning an asset that goes up in value while you're paying down the loan on it is just one of the most powerful wealth-building machines out there. But here's where we need to add a really important piece of nuance. Net worth is a great scorecard. It really is. But it absolutely does not tell the whole story. A high net worth does not automatically mean you are financially free. Let's look at this comparison. Okay, picture someone with a $10 million net worth. Sounds amazing, but it's all tied up in an $8 million mansion and $2 million worth of exotic cars. They don't have any assets that are actually paying them an income. So guess what? They still have to work to pay the bills. Now, compare that to someone with a net worth of only $200,000, but it's all in investments that create a steady passive income stream. That person could actually be retired. So you see, it's not just about how big the number is. It's about having assets that work for you. So, how do you actually do it? How do you build your own net worth and start moving toward that financial independence we're talking about? Well, let's break it all down into a really simple 5-step playbook. First things first, you have got to attack high interest debt, like credit cards. Every single dollar you pay in interest is a dollar that you can't put to work for yourself. Second, put your money into appreciating assets. We're talking about things that grow in value, like real estate, stocks, maybe even your own business. Third, find ways to cut back on your expenses. Fourth, work on increasing your income, whether that's a side hustle or getting that promotion at work. And finally, number 5, and this one is crucial, be patient. Seriously, building wealth is a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time for all your efforts to compound and really start to snowball. And that leaves us with this final, really powerful thought. I know it can seem like a huge mountain to climb, but these steps are a proven formula. Track your net worth, focus not just on the total number, but on building those income-producing assets, and just be consistent. If you do that, building wealth isn't just something that might happen, it's pretty much inevitable.